everyone, and welcome to another video. Now today's video is going to be the Let's Build of Chameleo, Protector of the Multiverse. And of course he's my self-mock, big part of my channel, you might have heard of him. And yeah, now in this Let's Build, first off, the first idea was because Kasai did a Let's Build, and his were inspired by Rollout Reviews' Let's Builds, and basically I really like that because the way he did it is he went into the development of Kasai. So I want to go into the development of how I came up with the character of Chameleo. I've actually got a ton of concept art that I'm going to show off as I review him, or as I build him. And this will function as a how-to basically for Chameleo, because I'm going to be able to see everything. I know a lot of people have always wanted a how-to for Chameleo. I still don't know if I'm going to 100% do that, but for now, this is what you got. So I'm going to go disassemble some of his parts. I'm going to go into each part of him. I think I'm going to go up. So I'm going to do the legs, the arms, the torso, and the head's really simple. And I don't even know if many people will have the head. By the way, this head is by Mold Out Masks, and it looks fantastic. So yeah, let's get into the Let's Build. Alright, so I've never actually taken apart Chameleo since the first time I built him. So I've never had to do like a Let's Build, or I've never had to really rebuild him, so I might make a few mistakes because it's been a while and I'm going to be doing it from memory. But these are basically the parts you'll need. Take a screenshot or something. A lot of weird parts. Actually, a lot more parts than I imagined for the legs, because I guess the arms are the simplest part. But yeah, alright, so initially when I was developing the character of Chameleo, I had a self-mock before, and I had like a few self-mocks. They weren't really anything too big. And I had one, this was around, I did a live stream. I think this was around September to October-ish. I was working at I had my job at an apple orchard, and I was basically working there, and I had a self-mock, but he wasn't really good. I showed him off on like a live stream once. He had the basic color scheme, and I had a few self-mocks before this, and one of them was a lot like Chameleo, but not really. It was like way worse. And so as I was like working there, and I had my channel was starting to grow more, I decided I needed a self-mock, like a really good, strong one. So I decided to develop Chameleo. And originally, I didn't really know what I was going to do with him. I wanted to create a unique character. This was the first time I actually went to a self-mock and was like, or to a mock basically, and was like, hey, I'm not just going to, build something random here. I'm actually going to, have concepts and ideas for like powers and personality before I built the mock. So the first time I ever did that. And now that's basically how I do almost all my mocks. So I can attach this on. This is a weird thing. There we go. Yeah, that is weird. Whatever. It looks good. So yeah, but also you'll notice the design for Chameleo is a little different because it's his design after episode 3, so he's a little damaged. He has a new gun and a few other things, and his new head and everything. So basically though, I was working on the self-mock, and I wanted to reach do him. It was the first time I actually went in depth about designing him, and I basically went through a lot of, because I was trying to get powers, so I went through a lot of, and I was trying to figure out how to do his head, because one of the first things I decided was that I didn't want him to have a normal mask. I wanted him to have his own head because I wanted him to be unique. So I started drawing all sorts of weird, like, masks and stuff for him. Originally, I guess it was going to be, like, 2 halves of a mask or something, or just, like this. I don't know what that is. And then, I had this idea that it'd be, like, a Frankenstein thing or something like that. And, those weren't really working out. They weren't really being as iconic. I guess this was one of the designs I had. Some other weird mask. I don't know if this applies to Chameleo, but, kind of stuff like this. And I had some also design ideas. This was one of them. It was like a more ninja-like design. But most of these weren't really too in-depth. Here's some more weird whatevers. And so I got a few ideas, and I wanted to be kind of like fast. I had the idea of him being like a speedy kind of character. It was always going to be green and white, but I had the idea of him like super speed. So that's kind of where this design came out of. Was the whole idea of giving like super speed and everything like that. Wanted to make him look very aerodynamic. And that's kind of also where the simplistic design came from, I guess, was the fact that I wanted him to look aerodynamic. So I had this design him running as a terrible drawing, but yeah, kept working. Another terrible drawing. And then you can see me actually working on speed and working on head designs. This is a head design that I would keep redrawing and reusing for a while, actually. So that's interesting. Let's get these off screen. And then I started actually getting closer, and I basically got to the point where the actual character started growing. So I'm going to get to about here. So there's this. He didn't have I guess this was kind of super speed idea, was the goggles would be like that because there'd be stuff getting in his eyes or something. This is also, you can see the cloth was starting to develop in his arm design because I wanted to look aerodynamic. That's why he had those in his original design. But I'll get into more sketches later. Some really interesting ones coming up once I'm almost closer down to the figure. But yeah, so I was really working with trying to create a character that had a unique thing to them, something unique and some sort of powers. And eventually, I got to the idea that he could change the way he looked, and he had like shape-shifting powers. And then with that came boosters that he has, which I use because all of my self-mocks have had boosters for like 3 years now. I've always had the same boosters, basically the same booster design. And so the idea of him changing the way he looked was a big deal. And then from that came the idea of why would he need to change the way he looked. And from there it was, he'd be like a criminal almost, like a Han Solo-ish type character. And originally, the very Star-Lord stuff in him wasn't meant to be there. That was from my original self-mock, which I made after watching Guardians of the Galaxy like 3 years ago. And then all that stuff just kind of carried over into this one, but it wasn't actually, Chameleo wasn't supposed to be inspired by Star-Lord. That was just leftovers from my last self-mock. And wanting to keep over the ideas and some ideas that I really liked. Like the boosters and everything like that, and like the personality. Even the coat I wouldn't think was Star-Lord inspired. I just really wanted him to have a coat. But anyway, so I got to the idea, and we were getting Chameleo-esque, and I think I settled on the idea that he'd have an Anika head as a base. And so I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it, and I wanted that, though, because it was simple, so, he could change the way he looked and everything. And then I got... What happened? I'm trying to remember. There were a whole bunch of different ideas I had. It was a long time ago. I thought of them all at work, so I don't remember too much from work. But I got pretty close, and I guess I'll get into this when I look at the next concept art, which I'll do later. I guess I had the idea to make him like spacey, and he had to have like space guns, and he'd be space-based. But I didn't have too much of a backstory for him. I didn't really know what he was going to do. And I'll get into how I actually got his backstory developed, because it's a really interesting story. But at the time, I had no idea what it was going to be, and I didn't know it for a while. I didn't know, what he was going to do, and like I didn't know that he was going to be protector of the multiverse. And that's how that, and I'll get into that, how that happened. But yeah, so I had the character design, and I really liked the character like type that he had, where he would be a kind of like a jokester / he'd be a little more, like he was originally gonna be like a criminal at first. He was gonna be very, like sneaky and a little bit of a hooligan, and he definitely has that personality. So yeah, and I said like the white and green came from my logo, my channel logo, which was white and green. That's the only reason why he is white and green. So yeah, those are his legs. I'm gonna cut. I'm gonna start working on the arms. Alright, so at this point in Chameleo's design, I had a personality, I had a design. You can kind of see where everything came from. The aesthetic of him being very simple came from super speed. The goggles came from the fact that he was going to be fast and he was going to have that stuff on his eyes. Even though he doesn't have, or he does have eyes actually. In bottom 3 he has eyes. The personality came from my original my older self-mock's personality, which changed, and I had like one, personality changed a whole bunch. But the original one kind of came from that, but it was definitely better and more thought out. And yeah, so I was at the point where I had a character, didn't have a backstory, didn't have a story, and I didn't have any way to include him in any videos because I was working on Chronicle. I didn't want it to get in the way of Chronicle, which it ended up getting in the way of Chronicle. Oh, that's not supposed to be there. And yeah, so I really liked the character. I just didn't know where to debut him. And then I saw one of Kasai's videos, and I will get into that when I get into the torso. Alright, so this is gonna suck because Chameleo's build is weird. But let's continue our story on his development. So, I saw Kasai's video. I saw his BioTube Alert video, which was a parody of Drama Alert that he did with Tokono and Renzo Mox. And if you look in the comments, you can actually see our first exchange there. And I said, hey, why didn't you ask me, jokingly or whatever? And he's like, well, I didn't think he'd be interested. I guess he thought I had more subscribers than I did at the time or something. But yeah, so he didn't think I'd be interested in doing it. But I mean, totally I was interested. I only had like 200 subscribers or something like that. Like, I was like, frick yeah, this dude's got like 700 subscribers, I think he had at the time. So we did that, and it was around Christmas time. It was like September, or no, it was November-ish, like late November. And I was talking to him, and we were trying to figure it out, and he got me on Skype. we were talking, and eventually, oh shoot, I have no idea where to start with this. I guess we need an axle right here. I gotta pull reference, frick. But anyway, as I was saying, so I was talking to him and I was trying to figure out like how we're gonna do a crossover. And since it was so close to Christmas, we thought, oh, we'll do a Christmas special. So we did a Christmas special, and I was trying to figure out how to do it. I was like, how are we gonna get our stories to work? I don't even have a story. Like I didn't have a story at that point. And so what ended up happening was we talked, and I was like, well, I have a self-mock. I have a Chameleo, and I was like, but he doesn't have a story. So I was like, well, I mean, we need a story if you're going to be able to do this. And I'm like, yeah, probably. So I worked on developing his personality, and his fact that he, not personality, his story, his background, and the fact that he can travel the multiverse is directly a result from the fact that I needed to find a way to connect to Kasai's story. Which is really funny to look back on, because it was like, wow. Oh, that's weird. Huh. Anyway, but it's really fun to look back on because you realize my whole thing is just... It wasn't directly that. It was... I did that and I thought it would work because I really didn't want to get bored of making the videos. I knew I had a history of, like, just getting bored of videos or something. So I wanted to find a way to make content that could always stay fresh and interesting. And I figured a good way to do that was to make him be able to travel the multiverse, and it was also a good way to make it so that when we did the crossover, it didn't seem as, what's the word, like, forced. It felt like it flowed more naturally. And I still think it does flow more naturally. It doesn't make sense. If one of the characters' thing is traveling the multiverse, and a crossover is really easy to do. So anyway, so we had the idea of the crossover, and I gave it to him, and after some talking, we tried to figure out how he could do it. That's how the watch came to fruition. Watch was basically like, well, what do I get to make him travel the multiverse? And he was like, oh, why doesn't he just have a watch? Because, you know, freaking Ben 10 has a watch, whatever. So that's basically where that came from. And so, yeah, so the idea of him traveling the multiverse came from that. And then the Cataclysm came from the fact that I wanted to make something... I keep saying came from the fact. I sound like an idiot. But the idea of that was from the idea... Oh, shoot, I can't talk now. Basically, the Cataclysm was developed because I wanted to make a villain that was unique. I didn't want to do the standard big, bad, dark shadow guy from Bio... for, like, this, whatever, the cliche Bio 2 villain. I didn't want to do that. I wanted him to be different, and I wanted it to be something that you really feared when you saw it. And I thought, well, what do people fear? And I thought, they fear what they don't understand. So I developed something that wouldn't be comprehensible, something that people wouldn't get, and I decided to make the Cataclysm this force. It's not even really a person; it's more of a force. And so I thought I'm happy with that because I did succeed in, like, you know, it's you don't understand what it is, and that makes it scary, and it's super powerful. And so that's how the Cataclysm came, and then I started, like, okay, I can start uploading videos that'll tie into the Cataclysm, and then it'll make more sense when I cross over with Kasai, because there will already be videos up with my story, and it'll feel more like a crossover. So I did, and Chameleo was just barely introduced at the end of the Makuta versus Witch Doctor video. Just at the end of that. And so he didn't have any real story content, and his real introduction was in the Christmas special, and that's why his opening scene is the way it is. It's filmed to be an introduction. It's not filmed to be, oh hey, here's Chameleo doing his thing. This is a new character that you don't understand. That's why his face doesn't get revealed for a while. I guess the fact that he doesn't have a face. Man, once I started building this and I saw the pictures, I was like on a roll. But yeah, so we did the crossover, and I had his personality develop. I didn't have a backstory for him still, and I still barely do. I just have ideas. Look at that. I am really proud of Chameleo's torso. It's really nice, compact, and shaped well. I don't want to give myself too much credit, but I do really like the way this turned out. So yeah, I'm gonna get into the head, and then I'll do the head and the guns at the same time, and I'll continue, and I'll show off some more concept art. Alright, so here's all the pieces to his head and his guns. Actually, a lot more than I expected for both, especially his head. Look at all these parts that are just in his head. All these parts are just the head. But yeah, so we got to the point where we did the Christmas special. We had them cross over, and we had Kasai cut off his arm, and it was great. And then everything just kind of steamrolled from there, and you guys kind of know what happened. But I'm gonna show some more concept art. So this is some concept art I did for Chameleo. And you can see it's similar to what he is now, but it's also very different. I like it, whatever. You can kind of see the development of the cloth mixed with the armor and also the head. I think this was some later concept art. You can kind of see the goggles here. I don't think that was ever supposed to be like I don't think I did that after the Christmas special. That was beforehand. And this shape right here in the torso was always a thing. This shape with the two sides it's always a big part. And now we get into the concept art that really where Chameleo became Chameleo. Essentially, this is the concept art that was Chameleo. I didn't build the set when I did this, I believe. I might have, but I don't think I did. And you can see his personality is here. He's very young in this. And I would go on to draw him older, like looking older. But the idea of him having a younger personality, because I was 14 at the time, I was like, oh, Chameleo will be 14, or he'll act like a 14-year-old. Sorry, got allergies. He had a baseball bat at this time. He had the cloth here. Overall, really like the way that I'm going to keep this because this concept means a lot. Because like this is really where Chameleo became Chameleo. You can see he's got the headphones. Everything's here, and this looks a lot like how he looks now. So, yeah. And then this was after the Christmas special or whatever. I tried to draw him, and he looked ugly. Here's some other ideas. At some point, I think he's going to be human. He's going to be able to take off his helmet or something like that. And then just some other random stuff. But, yeah. So that's all the concept art that I could find. I know there's a lot more. But let's get into these things. So, I did the Christmas special, and, yeah, like I said, everything's kind of steamrolled. And that brings us to basically present day. And Kasai was like, crossover was never supposed to be as big as it was. It was supposed to be like more of a one-off, but it ended up turning out so good, and I ended up enjoying working with Kasai so much that we decided that we're going to do way more crossovers. And then Kasai introduced me to Renzo Mox and Toho Kodo and Lego Builder 97 and Naretta. I knew Otto Von Doom, who does all the voice acting for like Richter and stuff like that. And he introduced me to Vanu and all these other people, all these other wonderful people that came through that crossover. And so Chameleo has just kind of continued from there. He's still developing. Like, there's some stuff you don't know about him. His backstory. He actually has like a solar panel that pops up that charges him that I'm going to show at some point. And yeah, and he's always changing too. His design is always changing because he's always getting something cut off. By the way, that's what it looks like with the goggles on. And also the reason, Kasai did bring up a point, he's like, why does Chameleo have goggles? Or somebody said this. Somebody was like, why does Chameleo have goggles if he doesn't have eyes? I'm like, oh shoot. So that's why he does have eyes in episode 3, because he needs a reason to have goggles. And I guess he can see through this. But yeah, also fantastic head designed by Moldat right here. This looks incredible. Come on, focus. But yeah, you can see a lot more details that I really wanted. Come on, dude. Come on. Oh, frick. Right here, come on, focus. You can definitely see a lot more details in there, and I'm really proud of the way this turned out. It looks fantastic. It looks way better than the old one. But the guns. And it's funny, because none of these are actually Chameleo's original guns. We've gotten to the point where he doesn't even have his original guns anymore. Which is kind of sad, but also kind of cool, because it just shows how far he's developed, how far he will continue to develop. He's still a developing character. He's never going to at least not yet, he doesn't have a final Chameleo. He's still going to get more unique weapons, which I don't want to spoil. He's still growing as a person too. Yeah, there's still a lot of development going on, but I just wanted to explain the origins and also kind of how everything came to the way it was today, and everything changed my YouTube career because of the Christmas special. It was awesome. Oh, frick, I built this wrong. I was so proud. I was like, I didn't build anything wrong, and nope, I ended up building something wrong. But yeah, his Western-ish gun, which I really like, and a lot of people, I guess, like. But yeah, so it's basically what happened. He's going to continue to develop. He's a really great character. I'm really proud of his character, and I don't know, I'm just proud of the way he's turned out. Definitely, like, I don't know, became this way bigger part of my career, part of my life than I ever expected, especially since he didn't have a backstory for a long time. And I guess it's just, I'm really happy with him. I'm really proud of everything's worked out. I'm happy that I've met all the people that I have met through him. And, you know, through Bionic Sonic or Bionic Kasai and through, you know, everybody else. And it's just, you know, it's been great. I don't think I would do anything different. I guess make the Christmas special better, because I look back at it now and I'm like, ooh, that's not good. That is no good. That is trash. It's not trash, but I really... there's so many problems with the Christmas special that I'm happy I fixed in Fodom 3. And then there are also the same problems that I repeated in Fodom 3. So, yeah, I'm still working on it. But, like I said, Chameleo's still going. I want to do the Let's Build so I could, you know, if everybody asks, how do you build Chameleo? Well, look at the Let's Build. There you go. You get to see how. But, yeah. Where's he going? Where's the future lie for Chameleo and for everybody else? We got plans. I don't know exactly where I'm going 100% with, like, I don't know, like with where his character is going to end, because I'm not planning on just keeping him forever. Or I'm not planning on. I don't know. I guess I like endings for character. Oh, this is weird. That looks weird. That does not look right. What did I... Oh, frick. I did something wrong. Yeah, I don't even know what I was talking about. I guess, yeah, Chamelio's character will not go on forever. I'm planning... I don't just want him to either go away or something. I want him to have a definitive ending at some point. What am I doing wrong? Oh my gosh, this is hideous. This gun, the new gun. I mean, I haven't built it as much. I mean, I haven't had it as long, so it's like, ew, how do I do any of this right now? Yeah, by the way, I guess this is the first official... Actually, no. It was on LEGO Builder 97's channel. First official Let's Build... Or first official showcase of this. On my channel, it's the first time I'm showing this piece. What the heck, dude? What the... Oh my gosh. There. Jeez. That's not even right. Great. Like this? Is that right? Is it like this then? Oh, gosh. Ugh, I don't even know if this is right, but I built it. Let's put them together now. You got your arms, your legs, and your torso. And yeah, and I guess I want to say Chameleo is really based off myself too. He's a heightened version of myself. Even I just wanted to look at him and I don't know. He is definitely an extension of myself. He's definitely not me. Very different. He's definitely much more outgoing than I am. But his wit, the fact that he likes to talk a lot, the fact that he likes to be a chameleon and he doesn't really like to, you know, the idea of him blending in is a lot like myself. But even like, you know, I try to build him like how I'm built. He's a little stronger, I guess, but I want him to be thinner. Because I'm a weakling, if you haven't noticed in the reviews yet, on my freaking arms. But yeah, so overall, I'm really proud of the character of Chameleo. I'm really proud of what he's led my channel to, and I said that I was going to end a story, but I'm not going to... The only time I'll end a story is really when my channel either transforms into something else, or I'm not going to ever end my channel. I don't know. He might not ever end. He might just chill or change or something. But yeah, overall, I'm really proud of him. Really proud of what he's done for my channel. I really owe a lot to the character. Really proud of what he's become. I love looking at the older versions of Chameleo. I love looking way back, even into the concepts. This has been a lot of fun. Yeah, this has just been fantastic. I hope you guys really enjoyed the Let's Build, and I hope you guys continue to enjoy Chameleo, and I hope he continues to do great things for my channel, and I hope, I don't know, yeah, he continues to teach me lessons. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and goodbye.